Real motherfuckers know that Black History Month is every month. Every day, every hour, every second, every nanosecond, every millisecond. Well, I think a nanosecond is smaller than a millisecond. Regardless, like every day, every waking hour of your life is a good time to study Black history. Why? Because the history of African people in diaspora, meaning African people who were taken from our homeland and forced to come to this country and build this country, and who are still denied the fruits of our labor and the fruits of our ancestors' labor. That history of struggle bears immense importance on the class struggle in the United States and the eventual struggle that will liberate us from national oppression and capitalist oppression, which by and large are one and the same. Am I saying that you shouldn't study other people's histories? No. But in the United States, Black history, Black revolutionary history, the Black revolutionary tradition is really special because it's been Black people who are at the forefront for 500 years of all forms of progressive struggle in this country. The struggle for the development of unions, the struggle for civil and democratic rights, the struggle for free education, the struggle for free health care, the struggle for a socialist path in this country has been dominated and led by Black people. We have shed our blood for the struggle in this country to liberate all people, not just ourselves. When we liberate ourselves, we're going to liberate everybody, because ultimately our struggle and the struggle of the indigenous people are the central struggles around which this country revolves. So this is Kwame Ture, slave named Stokely Carmichael. It's really important that you call Black revolutionaries and Black scholars by the names that they choose for themselves. For example, Kwame Ture, like, have you ever wondered why he took that name? Because he moved to Africa after FBI Fed jacketing. They basically had the Black Panther Party convinced that he was a fucking FBI agent, which of course we know is not true. But he was influenced heavily by Sekou Touré and Kwame Nkrumah. So he took the name Kwame Ture as a tribute to his African teachers. So it's really important that we honor people like Assata Shakur, slave named Joanne Chesimard, and others who Africanized their names in accordance with their revolutionary tradition and in homage to their African roots. So we're going to listen to a bit of Elder Ture. This is the principle of capitalism. It's uploaded by Afro Marxist, who you should definitely subscribe and pay attention to.
We must understand clearly when we talk about capitalism, who are the capitalists? As if we understand that there are only a few people who own and control the means of production in the society, then we begin to understand that there are a few capitalists. And these capitalists exploit everybody because everybody works for them. Everybody sells their labor to them. It is by selling your labor to a capitalist that he's really able to exploit you. Instead of going through theories, let me give some direct example. Let's say
I really like this aspect of the Black revolutionary tradition. As Huey P. Newton said, like, we're not a reading people. Americans, especially Black people, have to like be convinced by actual concrete examples that can be brought down to the level of our everyday lives. So I really like when Ture and Malcolm and Huey and Bobby Seale and Fred Hampton, like, they use examples that are relatable to the Black masses. Like, you don't have to quote Marx, Engels, Lenin, Stalin, or Mao, or Joe Ma, or Gonzalo, or any of these people, because like these experiences are really foreign. Even Marx, like, Marx was writing from the perspective of the proletariat in the 19th century. Like, that might as well be on the fucking moon as far as a Black bus driver or a Black clerk at Family Dollar in St. Louis, Missouri is concerned. So when we're talking about revolutionary history and revolutionary theory with the masses, it's important that we make this stuff relevant to their day-to-day examples. Otherwise, they're not going to pick it up. And as we know, as we've been taught as leftists, if the people don't pick up your theory, then it's just going to be hot air. It's going to be an arrow that you stroke, as Mao would say. So if we're going to stop stroking the arrow, then we have to make millions of people the agents of revolutionary theory. And not just that, we're not just filling people's heads with theory, but we also have to make our own theory along with the masses. Because if we don't do that, then whatever we make is not going to be it's not going to be relevant to their examples.
That I'm a capitalist.
Not relevant to their experience, I'm sorry.
And let's say that I sell shirts. I sell shirts. I have a shirt factory. Let's say this is my factory.
Who up late stroking the arrow?
I own it. The machinery. I have a place where I get cotton. Now, I own it. I'm the capitalist. And let's say you are my workers. You are my workers. You don't know me. You never see me. You see my lackeys, you know, maybe my foreman, but you never see me. Now, let's say it costs me 50 cents for cotton for every shirt I make. And let's say it costs me 50 cents for upkeep of my machinery.
See, he's breaking this shit down so the average person can understand that. He's not using all of this rarefied, precious language. Because when you hear somebody talking like that around average, ordinary people, what they're trying to do is they're not trying to educate these people, they're trying to confound them. And they're using big words and theories to try to turn the people into zombies and make them people who are overawed by, oh, wow, Kwame is using so many big words. We need to follow him because he's so smart. Whenever you come across somebody like that, that person is a fucking charlatan. And Americans are very cynical people. We're not going to follow or listen to or accept a revolutionary theory from somebody that we perceive as a charlatan.
$1. And let's suppose I pay you $1 for every shirt you make. That means it costs me $2 to get a shirt. Labor included, your labor. I pay you for making the shirt. Now, when I sell the shirt, being a capitalist, and you must know something about capitalism, very important, the sole motivating force in a capitalist society is profit. Profit. That is the sole motivating force.
You hear that? He's repeating it several times because he wants you to know that the sole motivating force of any capitalist, even black capitalists, their goal is not the national liberation or the redemption of our people. Their goal is to make fucking money. And a lot of people they have the wool pulled over their eyes by these capitalists, by these people who own the means of production, and by the people who exploit all of us. Like they have the wool pulled over their eyes, and they don't understand that these people don't give a fuck about you. If you die, if you drop dead at Amazon or Walmart or Target or Dollar General or any of these other stores, they'll have you replaced tomorrow. They don't give a fuck about you. He does use repetition like extremely effectively. He's not like Dr. Umar, who repeats himself 3, 4, 5 fucking times. I'm gonna watch some of that dumbass later because his review of the Bob Marley movie is fucking hilarious. But like, it's important to like study how previous revolutionary leaders talked. I mean, we're not all trying to sound like Kwame Ture. We're not all trying to sound like MLK. We're not all trying to sound like Malcolm X. But people follow these dudes because they knew how to talk to people and they were very, very attention-getting speakers.
Profit. Get money. Get it. Get it as fast as you can. Get it any way you can, but get it. Just get it. Just get it. And even in the African community, it affects us here in this country because Africans, those of us living in America, those of us born in America, we are imbued with the philosophy of capitalism, and sometimes we don't even recognize it. Thus, you find brothers and sisters even selling dope to their brothers and sisters to make money. Again, because we're imbued with the philosophy of get some money. Ain't nothing wrong to kill for money. Hell, your country is napalming for money. You can certainly kill for some money. All right, just get it. Just get it. It's the overall philosophy. When we talk about revolution, we must talk about changing values. We must talk about changing values, and we must understand these values. To the shirt factory. I've not forgotten. I'm just going to tie it in. I'll tie it in for you. I'll tie it in.
Did I see the Bob Marley video the night Zimbabwe declared independence? I did not.
Well, see, you must look under the shirt factory, too. You must look for spiraling economy. That's very important, spiraling economy. I sell the shirt for $5. I sell the shirt for $5. I don't do anything. You're the one who make the shirt. I'm exploiting your labor. You toil, you sweat, I get the fruit. That's right, I get it. But you grow it, you plant it by the sweat of your brow. I get it. I sell the shirt for $5. I am exploiting your labor. I really am exploiting your labor. I mean, even when you want a shirt, hey, you got to come to my store and buy the shirt for $5. Yeah, I really am exploiting you. Now, you're workers, you're in a factory, so you begin to get social consciousness. Yes, you do. Marx talks about this. Because you're working together, you see the socialized process.
So he's not using Marx as like a theoretician that we should bow down and worship, but he's using it in the service of his example and to effectively explain the inner machinations and workings of capitalism to his presumably black audience. Kwame Ture was probably one of the best speakers that the black revolutionary tradition has produced.
The socialized process, the laboring process, and you're able to see clearly how you're being exploited. So you get together and you start talking about, we want more money. You tell my foreman we want more money. So the foreman comes to see me. He says, the workers say they want more money. Later for them. Keep them working, man. So he comes back, no raise. So y'all work, but y'all get a little bit more agitated, you know, because it's scientific. The pressure rises, and as the pressure rises, the consciousness must rise. It's scientific. It can't be stopped. That's why revolution can't be stopped. Then you say, hey, look here, we're going to strike. So the foreman comes back and said, hey, they say they're going to strike. I say, oh, let them strike, man. And sure enough, y'all strike. Yeah, y'all strike on me. Now, when you strike, of course, my machinery stops. I ain't making no money. So after a while, I called my foreman. I said, what do they want? He says, well, they said they want $1.50 more a shirt. They want 50 cents more a shirt. So I said, okay, let them have it. So I'll bring you back. You happy? I pay you $1.50 more. Right, so it now costs me $2.50 to make a shirt. It cost me $2.50 to make a shirt. Before, it cost me $2. I was selling it for $5. But hey, look here. I can't go out there and keep selling it for $5. Hey, how am I going to do that? I'm going to lose profit. And look here. Since the soul...
He's breaking down the shit. This is how we need to talk to people about class struggle and the workings of capitalism. Like later for all of these big ass words, big ass terms, huge excerpts from Das Kapital, like that's not going to work. Like communists in the United States have been doing that for 100 plus years. Yet there's no real massive communist movement in this country because the average person doesn't know what the fuck communists are talking about. It's all of these rarefied, huge ass terms. Like Huey said, the average American is not a reading person. Certainly nobody outside of a university campus, save for a few organic intellectuals, as Gramsci would say, are going to have time to sit down and read all the volumes of Capital. So it's something like important that we're able to distill this stuff into an understandable format. This doesn't mean that we think that working class people are stupid, that they can't understand what we're talking about, but we have to use their language and we have to get these very important concepts that explain the roots of their oppression to them. Americans are dumb as hell. I wouldn't say that. Americans are very intelligent people. If our struggle is to liberate the working class American masses and the colonized people within this prison house of nations, it wouldn't do very well to just be like, oh, these people are stupid. That's arrogant. You can't say that because people are going to pick up on the fact that you think that they're dumb automatons that need nothing more than a gun in their hands and a little bit of revolutionary theory. We have to make sure that people actually understand the concepts that we're trying to teach them so that they understand what they're fighting for. We're not training ignorant automatons that just hold rifles and shoot RPGs. That's wrong. Every cadre, every revolutionary soldier, every mass organizer needs to know what we're fighting for. Read The Social Costs of Neoliberalism PDF by Sebastian Berger. It was cited by Marxist Kohei Saito.
Motivating force in a capitalist system is profit. Ain't no need for me to come and sell it for $5.50. Hey, no. Next time you see that shirt on the market, it's going to cost you $7.50. Right. And that's what's known as the spiraling economy. Because profit is what about? Wages go up into demands of the workers and prices rocket. Wages go up, prices rockets. And it keeps going and going and going until it's got to blow the top. It's scientifically real.
It goes.
That's why Nixon is talking about freezing wages and freezing prices. He's stupid. You got to freeze capitalism, Nixon. Freeze capitalism. That's the problem.
Oh, we can't freeze capitalism, Kwame. I'm sorry. Oh, it's not going to work. I can give you a small business association loan and let you set up a store where you sell dashikis and things, but I can't freeze capitalism.
That's That's the problem. Yes, that's the problem. You must understand these concepts, because once you begin to understand them and master them, you will see the inevitability of revolution. Not only the inevitability of revolution, but you will see the inevitability of victory for the struggling masses around the world once you understand the scientific principles of revolution. Once you understand it.
And here's another one. He's talking about homosexuality.
The only way this can be combated is through mass political organization. I think we're about at the conclusion. Fundamentals for unity presupposes organization. Now, we did say one thing, and this is a point we must hammer home. We said that when you think, you must think differently from the enemy. The confusion is here. Many Africans in America actually think, and even some who call themselves revolutionary and Marxist-Leninists say that we Africans in America have the same culture like other people in America. And they say it. This is a great error. This causes a great deal of confusion. Secretary says, à chaque peuple sa culture. Every people have their culture.
Ruth Wilson Gilmore said this about Kwame: he would calm you down and excite you for action at the same time. Yeah. I'm not saying that like charisma is the wheel upon which the revolutionary movement turns, but it certainly helps. Like, he's an extremely compelling speaker. He's extremely entertaining and educational to listen to. Like, even if you're not a Marxist, like, you should watch him. Like, because if you're a teacher, like, this is the type of person that kids in high school or freshman college students would love to listen to. Like, he is an extremely effective teacher, and he has an extremely effective pedagogical method.
As a matter of fact, our culture has been in conflict with the American capitalist culture and continues to be and will be until we destroy it. If you're not thinking clearly about your culture, you'll bring big errors. I'll give you an example. People have a problem with gay rights and gay and lesbian rights. Man never said, how come I hear you speak? I never hear you speak about gay and lesbian rights. I said, that's right. He said, but I go all the others, they speak about it. I said, we are not from the same political platform. I fight for my people's culture. I know they have one. My job is every day to more properly define it and to fight from it. You think we don't have one, so you fight from a capitalist culture. You'll never get anywhere. Africa has a culture of its own. And her people are the carriers of that culture. And anyone who knows anything about culture, when it's attacked, Jack, the people hide it from themselves. Malcolm X said it. He said, they don't call themselves Africans, but you scratch them a little bit, you'll see how African they are. They've hidden Africa from themselves. That is to say, the people seeing the enemy overwhelm them will hide the very culture from the people themselves. The conscious element will come to see how they've hid it, to pick it up. Let me give examples on homosexuality. If you will look at the history of Europe, and you know the first law is always to know the enemy. You will see Europe has a bloody history on the relationship of homosexuality. From Greece all the way down to today, where they're bashing the heads of homosexualities. Africa has none of this. Even Africans in America do not bash in their heads of homosexuals.
He said he's basically saying that Africans in America are wrongly scapegoated for being like homophobic. Like, no, we're not like that. Like, every black family has a story about an uncle or a great uncle that was gay, and he was completely accepted within the community. He lived his entire life in a black community. Everybody know that he liked dudes, but nobody gave a fuck. So when you hear talk about Africans in Africa or in the United States being like homophobic, like violently so, you also have to look at why that is. There have been several evangelical cults, basically, and missionary sects that have been to Africa and have basically brainwashed these people. They set up these mission schools, like the Mormons, the people who used to think that black people are literally cursed. Like, they're operating in Africa now. If I recall correctly, Africa is like one of their strongest mission zones after the Pacific. But and they're teaching these people to hate themselves. They're teaching them to worship a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus. and they're teaching them to join these cults and join these sects. And the people who join these cults and join these sects and are educated by them from kindergarten all the way up to university, they're sent overseas to these cult schools and they get these university degrees. They eventually come back to their country and they govern their country as these reactionary evangelical Christians, introducing, with the help of America or European based um, reactionary lobbyists. And next thing you know, you've got a bill criminalizing homosexuality in fucking Uganda. Is Caleb Maupin a Mormon now? I would not be surprised. I thought he was an Orthodox Christian. Most of those MAGA communists, they end up becoming Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox. I have no problem with Eastern Orthodox or Eastern Orthodoxy or any other variant of Christianity, unless it's like explicitly anti-black, like Mormonism is. But like, it's funny how like most of these weirdos, they worship Russia and they worship Putin to the extent where they literally adopt a religion that they were not raised in and they know nothing about, just because they want to glaze up Russia really bad. But anyways, like, after all of these African leaders are educated in Europe or in America in these reactionary mission cults, they come back and next thing you know, you've got a reactionary anti-queer law in Ghana or in Uganda or anywhere else. To any extent that we're homophobic or anti-queer, it's because we're imitating our oppressors. We can rectify it through developing or rediscovering our own positive, progressive, open-minded tradition.
The question of homosexuality is a question of intolerance. Europe's culture is most intolerant. It's really a culture that has no diversity. It seeks conformity. In the 1960s, if you would go to white colleges, all the white boys on there were wearing crew cuts and sandal shoes. They all look alike. The other day I saw one wearing long hair. He said, "What did you do for me anyway?" I said, "Made it possible for you to wear long hair." Yes, broke up the conformity. It's most intolerant. It's most intolerant. African culture is very tolerant. As a matter of fact, that's why we're the trouble we're in today. I remember as a young tough in Harlem, I used to go to the Audubon Ballroom when Malcolm was assassinated. I used to go to Rockland Palace, and if my memory serves me correctly, it used to happen in April. It still happens. All the homosexuals in the African community, and they put up signs, and I see them now. They have a big transvestite ball. And they would come at Rockland Palace, we were tough, 15, 16 armed. But wouldn't anybody think about hitting any of them. The best we could say is, "You really think that one is a woman?"
Yeah, very calmly and like he's not yelling, he's not using profanity. He's adequately explaining the history of black people in the United States and overseas have issues with queer people. It's literally because of white supremacy. And finally, this is Kwame Ture on Karl Marx and socialism.
Socialism hasn't gone anywhere. It has been betrayed, yes. But betrayal doesn't mean collapse. Perhaps they get confused because at least Judas had the dignity after betraying Christianity to hang himself. Gorbachev is still running around the world picking up pieces of silver. I must be clear here and not confused. I'm a socialist. One other thing I must tell you now. They confuse people about socialism. Brother the other day said, "Why ain't no socialist?" I said, "Why not, brother?" He said, "Because it's a white thing." I said, "Oh, really?" You see, Europe...
I've actually heard this a lot. Like a couple weeks ago, somebody was on Twitter talking about how they couldn't read Marx because he was white. And I mean, like, I get it, okay? I even made a whole ass stream about this. I get it. I understand why you don't want to read this old, racist, bearded... Yes, Marx was pretty racist. He used the N-word on several occasions. And Engels was also would also be termed problematic today and probably would be canceled because he called Mexicans lazy. But again, you have to consider that these guys were writing from the perspective of Europeans in the 19th century. They were not the most socially progressive or open-minded people. But like Huey said in his work on this, yeah, they were racists. But they also just developed and discovered several important theories and theorems that we can apply today to our own experience, regardless of whether we're black or white or whatever. Let's see what else Kwame has to say, because he's going to break this down really good.
tries to make believe that everything that comes out of the world comes out of Europe. I told the man, I said, socialism ain't no white thing. He said, yes, it is. He said, Karl Marx discovered it. I told him, Karl Marx never discovered socialism. He cannot. You call the laws of gravity Newton's laws. I'm sure there's a mnemonic device to help you on your quizzes. But you certainly cannot believe that Isaac Newton can found that a body falls at the rate of 32 feet per second squared per second squared. He can't find this. He can't discover it. He cannot invent this. He can only observe it and record it, discover the law. If I'm sitting in Timbuktu in Africa, and I've never heard of Sir Isaac Newton, and I'm conducting any experiments with gravity, I will come to the same conclusion that he does. A body in motion tends to stay in motion unless stopped by an outside force. He cannot invent this. He can only observe it and record it.
That's how I view Marx. Marx observed and recorded the machinations of capitalism. I really, really appreciate Kwame for saying this.
Karl Marx did not invent socialism. If I'm sitting in Libya, in the deserts, and I'm doing any research with capital and labor without ever having heard of Karl Marx, I will come to the same conclusion that he did. That any time capital seeks to dominate labor, there'll be a ruthless, uncompromising struggle on the part of labor until it comes to crush capital and dominate it. This is a fact. My history demonstrates that. We came here as chattel slaves for centuries. We fought and fought and fought until we crushed it. Now we're just slave of the wage, and now we've got to rise up and crush that one. That's to declare that Karl Marx didn't invent socialism. It's there for all to see.
Oh God, flashbacks to my physics class 5 hours ago.
Karl Marx's great contribution to the world was in the area of historical materialism and dialectical materialism.
Eli says, I like how he explains other social laws, like he knows about the world, not just socialism. Yeah, a veritable renaissance man.
Thing you need to know if you know about socialism, but since you don't know about socialism, you don't even know the words. And not only does the enemy keep you ignorant, you stay ignorant. You won't ever go read a book about socialism. Why read a book about socialism? They already told me in my class it ain't no good.
At Howard, he used to help his SNCC comrades with their homework, even when it wasn't his subject. Well, base tutor. I would have loved to have Kwame Ture as my tutor.
Even read a book about socialism. Why, you don't even read a book about your history. We come to inspire you to learn. We come to tell you that when you come to serve a people, you must know as much as you can. The more you know, the better able you are to serve the people.
This guy should have been the host for Reading Rainbow. So that's why you should read and study Kwame Ture. Watch his speeches. Was anyone else's cell phone fucked up yesterday? Apparently it was a nationwide outage. Oh. It'd be nice if you could hear the lady in the purple pantsuit.
People scratching their heads, wondering what is going on, and leading to confusion and concern about the ability to dial 911, the ripple effect inundating emergency centers from New York to Los Angeles. AT&T tonight is apologizing, but they are not explaining what happened. The FBI, the FCC.
You can't explain to people who pay you money to have cell phone service that should be working 24/7 why their service was down. Like, my phone literally said nothing but SOS from the time I went to bed. I woke up, it was fixed. But like, that's fucking wacky. That's fucking bazonkers. Jesus, did I just say bazonkers? That's my 10% European ancestry showing through. It also appears very heavily in my hairline, but ignore it. I'm fighting it.
And the Department of Homeland Security are now investigating the cause, and the White House says there is no evidence that a malicious attack was behind the network shutdown. But there are still...
I don't know. That was bazonkers, BRG. But I would say that it wasn't. I don't think my pet theory when shit like this happens, I don't think that it's necessarily the Russians, the North Koreans, or the Chinese. There are like literal fascist domestic terrorists who love doing shit like this. Like, these people are, you sure you just fall asleep listening to SZA? Y'all are crazy. But seriously though, like, fascists in North Carolina knocked out power to an entire county a couple years ago. And it was in the news cycle for like 2 days and nobody paid it any attention. So these people have these skills. Okay, like these people, there's people that literally sit and study nothing. People right here in this country, native-born American citizens. Like, people always think that terrorism is something that evil that comes from overseas. Like, no, there are plenty of domestic reactionaries that sit and plot and plan. Their idea is that we shut down cell phone service. These people literally had a plan in the 80s to poison the water in Memphis and Chicago, two heavily black cities, to trigger riots and mass chaos and all sorts of other shit. Like, these people are accelerationists. They want society to crumble so that their little fascist group can rise from the ashes and conduct the ethnic cleansing campaign that they want. Like, when you read their books and when you troll their online forums, read through their online forums, like, these people are actively talking about and planning these shit. These people are no joke. And leftists, like, they're talking about, like, arguing over shit that happened 50, 60, 70 years ago. You can't move through the 21st century with a strategy, with a plan, with a blueprint that you dogmatically adhere to that's stuck in the 20th century, that's stuck in the 19th century. One thing about our enemies is that they are very, very ideologically fluid. Like, if something isn't working, they'll pick up something else. Their goal is to secure power for themselves and make their ideology actionable. They don't get caught up in the stupid debates and discussions. Do these people fight each other? Do they hate each other? Of course. But it's radically different. Fascists work solely towards the realization of their ideology and the conquest of power. Leftists have to get with that shit. Because if we don't seize power, we're not doing anything. We're just going to be victims, rolling ignorantly on the wheel of history, and we're going to be frustrated. That's why so many leftists are frustrated. Because we don't have the ability to impact anything, or we think we don't have the ability to impact anything, because nobody picks up our ideology and nobody cares enough to act on it in the service of conquest of power. That's why the left is radically fucked up in this country, because it doesn't deal with power. You study Lenin, Mao, the Bolshevik Party, the Chinese Communist Party back in the day when it was still struggling for power. Like, all of it is centered around power. If your ideology is not able to define a phenomenon and make it act according to your desire, if you're not able to reshape the world, then your ideology is nothing but a toy.
So many questions. The outage also highlighting concerns about how the lack of communications could impact.
And yes, American infrastructure is crumbling. Like, I'm scared shitless whenever I drive over a bridge, because I've seen pictures of fucking bridges collapsing. Like, you got those pancake bridges out in the fucking Bay Area. There was an earthquake in 1989. I wasn't even thought of, but I've seen like videos of it. My geology teacher showed me in high school. Like, the fucking highway, whoop, smashed onto the bottom part of the highway. Like, shit like that is gonna happen. Our infrastructure is not maintained because we're so busy trying to dominate the Middle East, dominate Latin America, dominate Asia, dominate Africa. How about we dominate ourselves? Like, fix our fucking bridges, fix our fucking cell phone towers, fix our power lines so shit like this doesn't happen. Like, take a major fucking electrical outage in a major city. Like, do you have any idea how many people depend on insulin, which requires refrigeration? Like, if the power goes out for too long, every diabetic in your city is at the risk of dying. People rely on electricity for very, very important medical devices and treatments. Of course, the eugenicists that run this country, they don't give a fuck, but I'm a communist. I give a fuck.
Us all in a real emergency and renewing concerns about cybersecurity in the U.S. The top Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee tonight has a dire warning saying a Chinese cyber attack will be 100 times worse. Here's CBS's senior business
Marco Rubio, that idiot fucking twink.
And technology correspondent Jolene Kent.
A rude awakening for tens of thousands of AT&T customers.
I woke up this morning, turned on my phone, and
This guy sounds like he's gonna cry.
internet.
Check my phone, it's like, what's going on? I see an SOS.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Now I can't even use my GPS.
I was part of fucking history. I was part of history. I was part of the Great 24. I was part of the Black History Month outage.
Yes, my music, call my wife, tell her where I'm going to be.
From Chicago to Dallas, Boston to Los Angeles, more than 74.
Do I think also that America's Red Scare programming keeps them from pursuing that power on the left because of optics? Yeah, I'm really sick of hearing people like talking about optics and optics this, optics that. The only optics that matters is power. People are not going to follow you because you have weak optics because you're not serious about power. You're just a loyal opposition. Nobody's going to follow anybody that's able to complain and talk and identify the problems of things, but have no solutions. How are you going to be politically active? How are you going to be a political actor if you cannot influence shit? People aren't going to follow you. Nobody's going to care about your fucking ideology. Words are wind. What are you going to do about it? That's what I think the major problem in the American left is. We're so fucking impotent.
1,000 users reported widespread problems.
So on a personal level, it was definitely confusing and uncomfortable, but it wasn't the end of the world.
Late today, AT&T apologized to customers and said service had been fully restored. Nearly 3/4 of adults live in households without a landline, so losing cell service in a disaster can cripple communications. That was the case in the Maui wildfires. But today's outage inundated emergency call centers with people dialing them up to test their phones. Massachusetts State Police posting that many 911 centers were flooded with calls. And in San Francisco,
please don't call 911 to verify if your phone works if you don't have an emergency.
The FBI is in contact with AT&T and the FCC is actively investigating. The National Security Council says there's no reason to think that this was a cybersecurity incident.
Does this incident worry you about the future?
I always worry about our dependency on technology. I think it's also
Oh, please, what are you, a fucking Luddite? You should worry about how our infrastructure is fucking crumbling and, like, easy for shit like that to happen. You got this idiot. God, he looks old. But he's whining about, oh, the outage will be worse in the case of a cyber attack from China. He said the scenario will be 100 times worse than what Americans experienced Thursday morning in a post-X. Yeah, he's using this to fearmonger. Fear and warmonger. That's all these fucking people know how to do. Representative Carlos Jimenez, also a Florida Republican, echoed Rubio's statements, resharing the post and adding, agreed, Senator Ed Marco Rubio, communist hashtag China will continue to work overtime to undermine America and the free world. Our infrastructure is undermining itself. China doesn't have to do shit. They don't have to do shit. Like, quit talking about China doesn't give a fuck.
We do have an update for you, some breaking news that we've been following today. Sources tell ABC News the FBI and Department of Homeland Security are investigating the cause of a massive nationwide cell phone outage. Officials are working to determine if the service disruption is the result of a cyber attack, a hack, or simply a technical malfunction.
It's simply because most of our cell towers are fucking ancient.
AT&T
and they're overloaded. Like they said, only 72% of people in this country, 72% of people in this country depend on fucking cell phones.
Customers are slowly now coming.
They're overloaded. They're old. They need to be replaced. Fix our fucking infrastructure. Like if I was president, that is what I would like. That is what I would plow a substantial amount of money into. Overhauling our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our fucking water pipes, our power lines, our cell towers, our bridges. Did I already say bridges? I like bridges. All of that shit. Like without that, like we're in the fucking Stone Age.
Back online after thousands of those cell phones went down earlier this morning. The cellular outage affected phones all across the country, with thousands of users reporting issues in cities including New York, Houston, Chicago, and San Francisco. AT&T tells ABC News, quote, some of our customers are experiencing wireless service interruptions.
God, I hate PR speak.
What's up, guys? It's Ethan here. And
this is the mall I used to go to when I was a kid. It was sad seeing how far this, like, I'm a big fan of Urbex and stuff like this, but this made me sad. Like, this is where we used to go to the movies and stuff. It was beautiful.
Today,
but they tore it down.
Today's video, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm about to go to the Jamestown Mall. On Tuesday, it gets demolished, but
look at that. That's fucking atrocious. But it's just that, like, it's just demonstrating even more the principle of dialectical materialism. Nothing lasts forever. This, why are all of the malls in this country like going through this? Because the internet. Like, why would you go and fight traffic. You got to try to find a parking spot, all this shit. Like, yeah, the mall was an experience. The mall was an experience, but now nobody's gonna go through that. Why would you do that when you can order whatever the fuck you want with this? Even if you want to go, if you want something to eat, you order it and they'll bring it to your fucking front door. You don't have to move a muscle. What's new will become old. There are people living in this motherfucker too. Hank the Tank, get off my dick. Honestly, like, I give people like this their props, because ain't no way I'm gonna crawl through a little fucking plywood hole. For one, I'm fucking huge. I'm a pretty big dude. Like, no, I'd fucking hurt myself. Or so I'd plummet through into the basement. Look at how winded this dude is. He sounds like he just ran a fucking marathon. That floor used to be so beautiful. Like, it used to be like this polished white marble. There's a fountain there. Like, this is literally my childhood. I went to go see Shrek at this mall. Catch that kid. All sorts of shit. And now it's just fucking, it's fucking rubbish. This is like the start of some horror film, but it's real.
Now that's a photo.
I'd be afraid I'd get lost in this motherfucker and not be able to get out. Hey, look at all this shit. They just fucked this shit. Bro, look at this place. It looks like it's already half torn down. Like, you can't even tell what any of that shit was. The only thing that I recognize is the floor. You need to sit down and take a break, bro. Like, that heavy breathing is distracting. Oh, he's coming up on the food court. Bro, you haven't even walked a mile. You need to chill out. All that heavy-ass breathing and shit. This place just makes me sad to see it trashed like this. This was the scene of some of the best fucking experiences of my childhood. And the movie theater was over here, Jamestown 14 Cinema. So this was where you used to go to the movie theater. And you pass through the food court. I'd always harass my mom to get me an Auntie Anne's pretzel. I think there was an Auntie Anne's pretzel in there. A pretzel, or we get some pizza. You are trick or treat here too. Like, there's a thing with black parents in the like early 2000s. People thought that folks were poisoning the kid, were poisoning the kids' candy or putting razor blades or other nutty shit in there. So we used to go to the mall, and we went to the mall to go trick or treat. I still love how like all of this is still fucking white though. What did I do in the mall? Well, my mom would go shopping, and I was a kid. Like if I would wander out of sight, I'd get in trouble. So if I was good, we'd get something to eat, or we'd go to the go catch a movie. Let me see if I can find a video of what it was like when it was open.
I'm so out of breath. Jamestown Mall.
Damn, I can't find any videos of when it was open. Yeah, it's basically like white corridor after white corridor. Some of the signs are still there. But yeah, it's been open to the elements for a while. So yeah, there's little mildew and plants and shit growing in there.
Oh, man. I could have imagined how popular this place used to be.
Oh, hey, he's in a movie theater. Jesus, that gives me the creeps. You better hope he doesn't trip over something and fall and break his neck or impale himself on a rusty nail or something. That's where he used to go to the show. That's where he went to the movies at. I also, like, I couldn't do urbex, like, in person because I'm afraid of fucking mice and rats. Oh no, go in the bathroom. That's rule number one. Whenever you go into an abandoned building, you always got to go in the bathroom. You'll find surprises in there.
I guess that's probably where the fire happened, most likely.
Oh yeah, it burned a few years ago.
Doesn't look like there's no second story, I don't think.
Well, so they're getting ready to leave. That's fucking sad.
So I'm on my phone right
Here's another one. This is in much better condition
now because my phone reaches farther than my real camera.
The only jump scare you get at fucking Jamestown was a crackhead.
Believe it or not. But what scares me is all those alarms going off down there. What is going on? Stay.
This is some liminal backroom shit.
Metro Center Mall, a once thriving mall bustling with life, is now just a shade of memories. This double-decker mall opened its doors in 1978, serving the town of Jackson for many years, and finally closed its doors in 2012. Metro Center began a decline in 1999, and a steady pattern of vacancies continued until August of 2007. The cause of decline was the changing demographics in the Jackson metropolitan area, which contributed to substantial vacancies throughout the years. Even though the outside of the mall has seen better days, the inside remains pristine, almost to the point.
Holy shit. All the fucking chairs and shit are still sitting neatly where they, like, I guess that all the workers like, okay, guys, it's our last day. Let's just set up all our shit. Like, we're just going to open for business. Surprised there isn't shit all over the floor, animal or human. Me too. If it's one thing that all animals, humans included, humans are animals, if it's one thing that animals love doing, it's shitting on the floor.
Be a preserved time capsule from a bygone era.
Man, what is happening in West Africa? Are they still trying to get rid of the fridge? Yes, they are.
So join me in the...
And it's sad. Like, they're tearing all this shit down. Like, you can... Do you have any idea how many homeless people you could house here?
This exploration, and let's go back to the past.
This is why I shit my pants instead like a human being.
He's around. It is really thick glass. Yeah, I think this is like a bank.
Oh, you broke in the bank. You in trouble.
What is this? Is it open? Yes, it is. Holy shoot.
All the lights and shit still work?
Oh, that's too loud. Yeah, this was a bank. This was the vault doors.
Open it, coward.
I don't think that's gonna open. Yeah, I'm not gonna even try. Let me see. No, that's not open.
There's probably nothing in there but rat shit, maybe a dead body. Why is he whispering? Because he's trespassing. He's a lot smarter. You can tell he's been doing this for a while. He's a lot smarter than that dumbass kid that was running around making all kinds of noise and breathing like he just ran a fucking marathon. Yeah, you're not supposed to go in places like this. You can get arrested for that. Oh yeah, I'm just going to record myself in the mirror so everybody knows what I look like. This is a very well-maintained abandoned building. So this was recorded on the day before New Year's Eve, December 30th of last year, and this was supposed to have been abandoned since 2012. It's like, is there like a ghostly cleaning crew or something? This is the cleanest fucking bando I've ever seen.
Wow, look at this.
Wow, look at this. I'm gonna stick my dick in it.
This is too creepy. This is way too creepy. Wow. This is surreal. It's so quiet in here. There's absolutely no sound at all. You can hear a pin drop. Creepy, creepy, creepy. Oh god. I keep on hearing stuff. I don't think this is gonna be a peaceful explore at all.
Summer 2022 was only 2 years ago. No, a year and a half ago. What the fuck is there nostalgic to be about? What nostalgia value does 2022 have?
This is gonna be nerve-wracking.
In summer 2022, I was doing the same shit I do now, coming home from work and playing Skyrim. I wasn't streaming then, I was making YouTube videos, but still, what the fuck?
Very nerve-wracking.
You're only 2 years younger. It's not like it was 10 years ago. Now, I can understand being nostalgic for 2012 or 2011 or 2010. Everybody misses Skinny Jeans and the Jerk and the Dougie and the Cat Daddy, right?
Bragging. Oh, God. I usually start at the bottom and then work my way to the top. But
started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, not a whole teen here. Yeah, we started from the bottom, now we here.
In this circumstance, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go up top first.
Go up the escalator, you bitch. Go.
Just in case. So let's do that. And so, I just made it.
What is Pyramid Head gonna appear out of one of the fucking buildings or something? Out of one of the old stores?
Up the stairs. That is the escalator.
Yes, I know it's an escalator.
It looks like this mall possibly was abandoned during Christmas by those lights. Look at those Christmas lights still up. Can y'all see that? Famos, Chicago flavors. Let's see how much food cost back then. A steak hoagie, $12.99.
Of course, mall food is always overpriced.
That's expensive. Wow.
Yeah, you're at a fucking mall. Mall food is always going to be overpriced. Imagine paying $12.99 for a fucking steak hoagie in 2012.
I hate to see what it is now. I love malls. It's probably like some of my favorite abandoned spots of all time because of the natural light that comes in. Malls are so beautiful when they're abandoned. It's like
I think he's whispering because, like, if he talks in a normal voice or if he, like, yells, it'll echo. And he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to let, like, people who are liable to call the cops let him know that he's in there. Let them know that he's in there. So that's why he's whispering.
we have some abandoned storefronts and stuff. Ooh, what is that? Yeah, I don't think I want to go there because I see a camera on the door right there. And
oh, going on here.
I don't know if that camera is active or not. I doubt it, but yeah, I think it ran out of battery. Not yet, though. Not yet.
I'm going to look at your video, Potato Salad God. Let's see what's happening. One of the largest malls in all of Minnesota.
Whatnot, but guys, I will not lie to you right now. I am
Dude, this is a very pretty abandoned mall. The floor is still shiny.
fighting a gnarly sore throat and nasal congestion, so if you can tell, just try to give me the free pass this time. Walking into Burnsville Center, I was sort of blown away by just how empty it was. Every single entry.
No shit, it's abandoned, dum-dum. What do you expect, the ghosts to still man the store?
Storefront was gone, and as you'll see, it really isn't until you get to the center court that you find some of the action. That action, unfortunately, on this visit was mainly just because of a seasonal spirit Halloween, which we will see. But how did this mega mall come to be, and how was it left like this? Let's begin the story of Burnsville Center.
Oh, it's still occupied, that's why.
Burnsville Center's story begins over 53 years ago in the outer suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota. A booming, thriving community on the rise known as Burnsville inhabited this land, having just jumped
with no black people allowed
across the river as their own community. Burnsville would thrive throughout the 1960s and into the 1970s. And with the rise of people in the city, the growing need for shopping was getting ever more prevalent. It seemed that by the late 60s, each big community had its own shopping center. Southdale for the south side, Harmar for the north, Brookdale out west, and
I wonder what's in those boxes.
In the quickly expanding suburbs of Burnsville, with the interstate just completed as a key retail point, a mall would quickly be sought out.
What's behind that door? Just a regular ass fucking house door. What's in there? I want to see what's behind the door. You showing me all this stupid shit. I want to see what's in the places you're not supposed to go. You're not a real urban explorer, coward. Oh, of course, he's going to go to the escalator. Take the steps. Lazy fat Americoid. Oh, that used to be Payless shoes.
1971, when Homart, the Sears Mall Development Division and Powers Department Store announced that they were to construct a mega mall. Upon purchasing 115 acres of hilly farmland, the new mall would be drawn up. To feature 4 anchors across 2 levels, with a sunken lower level in the center court, Burnhaven Shopping Center, as it was then known, would be unlike any other in the city, a mall of futuristic proportions to dwarf all the others. By June of 1973, Homart revealed these plans. To be 1.4 million square feet, built at a cost of $30 million, it would be revolutionary.
It's just American capitalist hubris. Yeah, it's just American capitalist hubris. They built these like during the Pax Americana, if you will, where everybody had fucking money to burn. Of course, a lot of these were built in the 70s where we had stagflation going on, but like you hear your parents or your grandparents talk about how much better everything was back then. Like you still had a semblance of a heavy manufacturing sector, which is all going to piss now. But like people had that type of disposable income, like they could afford, and they were able, at least until the Arab gas crisis, to drive. And like this was the peak of consumption. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s. The 90s really were the last decade of the Pax Americana. After that, it was just whoosh. That's why so many people are like nostalgic for the 90s. Like people could afford to go to the mall and just go from store to store to store. Like I talked to my mom about the 90s. I barely remember the 90s. But I talked to my mom about it. Like she had the best job she's ever had in her life. Bill Clinton was president. She was young. Her body was young. Like her eyes fucking glaze over.
And throughout 1974 and 75,
we've got one of the biggest malls in the country in San Jose, and it is super duper Asian. I've never heard of a mall described as Asian before.
construction vehicles would pour into the site, raising the land with steelwork of the new mall beginning to rise. All was going to plan. With the late 77 opening, Burnsville Center, as it was now known, was bound for success. Wait, it was bound for success, right? Right? As we come down toward the old Powers/Carson Pier Scott, I want you to make a mental picture in your head of that food court. You can go back if you need to, or just of the whole mall in general. Make a mental picture of all the restaurants and stores that are still here, and wait till we get to the end of the video when you see the mall as of a few weeks ago, and just how everything has closed. Homart would show the first signs of concern when finding out that the Burnsville area wasn't growing as sporadically as they had hoped. While the mall was in a good planned location to expand, it was still surrounded by fields and farms. On top of that, the economic recession of 1976 was hitting its peak with plummets at all other malls. Plus, there was the opening of Eden Prairie Center and Ridgedale Center not far away. Despite these concerns, Homart was convinced Burnsville Center would thrive. Among its ramps and sunken food court filled with new trees, stores were getting ready, hanging up their new neon signs or readying display windows. It was also to be noted that Burnsville Center was bound to open with facilities and amenities for the disabled, predating the Disability Act that would pass in 1990. It was truly a mall for its people. Would they follow through, however, was the only hitch. As the opening neared, Homart held their breath. On August 3rd, 1977, Burnsville Center would officially open to the public after a massive grand opening ceremony, which featured appearances by comedian Pat Paulson, Miss Minnesota, and Miss USA. It's believed that on opening day, visitors numbered around 30,000, with tens of thousands of cars filling the parking lots. The mall was just as revolutionary as its residents hoped it would be. Betwixt its three anchors, Powers, Sears, and Dayton's, 96 stores would open, with space for 165. The others would come in time. Throughout opening day and into its opening weeks, it was nearly impossible not to see your friends.
Oh, my eye hurts.
And family going to the mall. It had everything and anything you could want. Stores to open included GNC, Radio Shack, Wicks and Sticks, Claire's, and I know Musicland was elsewhere in the mall, so what was this? Camelot Music?
Oh, this is making me sad. Making me sad. You always make me sad, Potato Salad God. I'm so disappointed in you. I'm so disappointed. Yeah, that's fucking creepy. Falling into Uranus. Like before, let's assume you have a special suit that will take you all the way down Uranus. You guys know that, do I listen to shoegaze? Do I look like I listen to shoegaze? You guys know that Mars is eventually going to have rings? Yeah, I think one of its moons, it might be Phobos, is going to be pulled into its atmosphere, and it's going to break up, and Mars is going to have rings one day. Ooh, pretty. You take one last look at the universe before diving into Uranus. There's the pale, wan, weak-ass sun. Negative 371 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, at least before I die, I will have a scene of incomparable beauty before my eyes. Uranus is very windy, 900 km per hour, 560 miles per hour winds. There ain't no land on this shit, is there? Like, you're basically gonna fall through clouds until you die. What's up? I'm just exploring Uranus. Is that water? So we finna drown? It's a hot, dense, fluid ocean of icy materials like water, methane, and ammonia, which makes up most of the planet. So you've got a toxic ocean in Uranus. This deep in Uranus, the pressure causes carbon atoms to crystallize, resulting in da 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 da. There's diamonds in your anus. Ouch. Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna subscribe to that. These are dope. I'm a space nerd. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Biden says that Hamas's attack on Israel was like 15 9/11s. 2,977 people took the hijackers out. They shouldn't count. Times 15, that's 44,655 people. I haven't heard of those casualties inflicted on the Israelis. Those casualties have been inflicted on Palestinian civilians, so we can more accurately say that Palestine has gone through around 15 9/11s. It's still Black History Month, and Gwen is a black trans woman, artist, and advocate who is struggling after losing her job, facing housing and food insecurity, and being forced into survival sex work. She needs support, so donate and share. It's always good to support our trans comrades, so if you've got a few simoleons to spare, hit the link. She's currently sitting at 7,270 of her $10,000 goal, so be good comrades and help a friend out. Spotted in Jerusalem, a depiction of Jesus is crossed out by Muslims. Above it says, "There is no God but Allah." And Karim Wafa Al Husseini, good buddy of mine, really dope dude. I've learned a lot from him. Says, "Habibi, no Muslim would ever do that because it's a requirement in Islam to believe in Jesus. Your propaganda is giving desperate $2 gas station knockoff budget movie." Indeed. No Arabic even looks like that. You can tell that Arabic is not that person's language. DTX Satin says, "BRG Aerospace Engineering Arc. Let's get your differential equation reaction segments going." No. I am strictly a liberal arts guy. I do not like letters. Do not belong in math. I know what I'm capable of. I am not capable of doing letters with nope. I would not drive over a bridge I designed. Can you imagine like how much balls it would take to be an open Arab MK in the Knesset of Israel? Like, I'd be afraid these people would like violently attack me and stab me to death.
חבר הכנסת טיבי, קריאה שלישית, נא לצאת. חבר הכנסת טאה.
I would just not want to see these people every fucking day. These are the people who rebuilt Britain. 3 men of the Windrush generation, named after the boat that the original immigrants came over on. Migrants from the Caribbean arrive in the United Kingdom, 1948. The Windrush generation were those people who arrived in the UK from the Caribbean countries between 1948 and 1973. I don't know that Windrush generation technically counts all the way up to the early 70s. So, yeah, these are the guys who rebuilt Britain after World War II. They also built the national health system. A lot of the nurses in the NHS were of Caribbean origin. H.P. Lovecraft, that racist fuck, look up what he named his cat. Suffered a nervous breakdown when he realized he isn't good at math enough to study astronomy at Brown University. I am not H.P. Lovecraft. He was a racist wasp who looked like a foot. New evidence of New York Police Department plot to assassinate Malcolm X unveiled on 59th anniversary of his death. God, a lot of people wanted this guy. Two former members of Malcolm X's security team have revealed details of their entrapment and imprisonment by New York police just days ahead of the 1965 assassination of Malcolm X. Yesterday, one of the 2 men and family members of Malcolm X appeared at a press conference on the 59th anniversary of Malcolm's murder. Huh. Wild. These are the Trump tennis shoes. Let's take a look. I already know what they look like. God, these are gaudy and ugly, and they look extremely uncomfortable.
Super fire. And low-key, they're actually very comfortable. First ever Trump shoes.
And if you call right now, they'll put the taps right on the bottom of the shoes for you at no additional charge.
H.P. Lovecraft was not a man with problems. Rather, he was a bundle of problems which roughly formulated into the image and shape of a man. African dances with American dances with African roots. I would title it African Dances in the Americas.
Those movements
Those are the Jan Sixes.
directly back to Africa. We're going to show some dances now. The first movement is a dance called the Agbele in West Africa, and Miss Breed is going to do the duck. We'll see how they look alike. The next movement in the States is called the Boogaloo.
Oh no, it's bad word.
And everyone knows that. Well, in Africa, where it came from originally, it's an Ewe dance. And Mr. Duncan will do the Ewe step. There's an Ashanti dance that is lovely. It's smooth, it's graceful. In fact, it's royal. And there's a Black American dance called the skate that has all the elegance of the Ashanti dance. I think it's very easy to see there is an African influence here, not only in the rhythm, but in the tonality and in the joy.
Hey, when people say you aren't African, you literally doing African dance moves. 2024 Biden, I've served with real racists. Strom Thurmond, guy's terrible on race. 1981-87 Biden. Let's see what he has to say about the guy that he hates now.
He works for Strom Thurmond. Strom told me, he said, Joe, if there has to be a Democrat as president, I hope it won't happen, he said, it might as well be you. And after
This guy was literally endorsed by Strom Thurmond. That's how racist he is.
dropped out of the race, he came even said, don't worry about it. He
Am I more of a cumbia or a salsa person? Cumbia.
said, you got a good 30 years left to try.
A piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation, nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
We have to hold every drug user accountable. Because if there were no drug users, there would be no appetite for drugs and there'd be no market for them.
So does this apply to Hunter? I don't think it applies to Hunter.
Since 1986, Congress has passed over 230 new or expanded penalties for drug and criminal offenses in this United States. Under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself as well, we changed the law so that if you are arrested and you are a drug dealer, under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own, everything from...
Anytime I was taking a difficult math-focused course like Dynamics 1, I would just think of Cita del Henri during the Kingdom of Haiti days, and suddenly I go hard. Bro gets bricked up at the thought of a ruined building.
From your car to your house, your...
You've got a building fetish, bro? You get hard, you get bricked the fuck up at the thought of a ruined building?
Bank account, they can take everything. We don't allow judges discretion. Flat time sentencing.
But this is the guy we're still going to vote. We're still expected to vote for. This is the guy that's going to save black people, obviously.
You get caught, you go to jail.
And the sad part is that we have no more police in the streets of our major cities than we had 10 years ago.
This is a Republican. The Democrat and the Republican Party are literally the same party. Literally the same.
In a nutshell, the president's plan doesn't include enough police officers to catch the violent thugs, not enough prosecutors to convict them, not enough judges to sentence them, and not enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. That's why we think the president should
I didn't create this one. The devil created this one. This is not an original Yakubian.
triple the commitment that he's
This is a Luciferian.
made tonight for police, prosecutors, and judges for our cities and our states.
The answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police.
I have been so conditioned by Senator Thurman that I still refer to him as Mr. Chairman, and I'm the chairman. I don't know quite when I'll grow up to realize I really am the chairman.
Strom Thurmond. For what else would explain a guy named Biden to be one of his eulogists? What else could explain a Northeast liberal's presence?
You're not a liberal, you're a fascist. Honestly, the two are approaching more and more similarity. I don't feel like watching that Zionist. 95% of African Americans have Congolese ancestry. I'm part of the 95%.
Of Africa. I know they teach us that we were brought and taken from the west coast of Africa. But these were where the ports were, the people. They were taken from.
God, I wish I had hair. I would rock this shit.
Angola, in the Congo. So as you look at these pictures, if you're an African American, I guarantee you will see somebody that looks like somebody in your family.
I thought the Bob Marley movie was
Oh my God, I haven't seen this guy in ages. This is Dr. Umar Johnson.
good. I thought the Bob Marley movie was good. I thought it should
Why does he repeat himself over and over again? He's always done this.
have been longer. It felt rushed. The Bob Marley movie was rushed, but it was good. They did hit on all the major points. Now, as far as you women talking about Bob Marley had all these women, listen, we are African men. We are not Neanderthals. We are African men. Ladies, we're going to have a conversation. Bob
That's all this motherfucker does. Where is your school at? That's all you do. Have conversations, have stupid conversations. And what the fuck is that on your head?
Marley was the king of reggae, and so he had a queendom.
He had a queendom.
King of reggae, and so he had a queendom. I got to stop hating.
Why does he think this makes him sound profound or something?
Okay. That European thing y'all keep pushing. That's not
Hey, what is he? Is he using a pocket camera and is he blocking the mic with his finger?
going to work. That's why I'm going to have two queens. How tall
You're expressing your desire to engage in polygamy?
am I? I'm 6'3" 3/4. I'm 6'3" 3/4. How tall are you, my sister? How tall are you, my sister? How tall are you? Stop. Slim, thick, or curvy? I like the slim, thick to athletic build to voluptuous. I'm right in there. I don't do the skinnies. Much respect to the full figures.
Bro, why are you talking about women like property? Get on Hinge.
5'10" and slim, thick. That might work. That might work right there. Get on the dance floor.
You don't even know how to record a fucking video. You've been at this shit for 20 fucking years almost. You don't even know how to record a decent video with your camera. Congo is going to be the best country in the world once it's liberated. I hope I live to see the day too. It will be a gorgeous eco-architectural heaven. Yes, replete with plenty of resources for everybody that lives there. That will be glorious. I'm going to bed. This asshole and his hair and his stupid beard made me sick. Plus, I work tomorrow. More surprises tomorrow. Christoph and a bunch of black men put that thing up without MATLAB and Revit. Those were pure black architects putting in work right after beating up on Europeans. They're not Europeans, they're honkoids. That's the term you need to use. Get it right.